Hey guys, it's just me. We're back again. It's just math. All right, we're going to be looking at formulas, solving formulas. Okay, Math 98. All right, so we're used to formulas. We did some formulas in the last test where we were given a formula and we replaced the letters with numbers. And so that's something that we're used to. But sometimes we do other things with them. But for using variables, we have an example here. It's amount that we earn is equal to our wage multiplied by the number of hours that you worked. And so that's A equals WH. Remember, W next to an H means W multiplied by H or H multiplied by W. And so if we know two values, we can always use our algebra to find the third. So suppose that your amount that you earned was, say, $75, okay, and the hours you worked was, say, 15. And so we can use our algebra to figure out what our wage was. 75 is equal to the wage times 15. We would normally write that as 15W. And then using our algebra, we can solve this. We can divide both sides by 15, because that's 1, and that gives me my wage. And I'll look over here and I do this calculation, and 75 divided by 15, if I'm not mistaken, is 5, and that tells me that my wage is $5 an hour. That may not be what you want it to be, but that's what it ended up being. Okay, but now we can also use our algebra to create two more formulas, and this is what we're going to be doing in this part of chapter 2.5. The last part we did problems like the one above, but the second part we're focusing in on just the formula itself and creating other formulas. So for example, this formula is currently in the form of A equals. I can make another formula that says W equals, and I can make another formula that says H equals, all from using my algebra. And let me show you how this works. So the first formula is A equals WH, wage times hours. So if I want to solve for W, then I need to just divide by the H on both sides, and I get W is equal to, well, there's no math to be done here. That's okay. I'm creating another formula, A over H. So W is equal to A divided by H. So that's formula number 2. So now what if I wanted to solve this formula for H? I can do the exact same thing. This time I want to solve it for H, so I want to get rid of the W. That's the 1. So solve for H, and I get A divided by W, and that's the other one. So you can see that I have taken one formula and used my algebra and created two more formulas, one for each variable. Now your science teachers are experts at this. They'll give you one formula, but they'll give you all the versions of it. So it used to always confuse me. So we can solve for the given variable depending on what the given variable is. And remember, way back when I told you when it means to solve, it means to get the designated variable on one side of the equation by itself. And that's what we did on those two examples there. All right, so now just need to know that when we do this, simplifying may not be possible, and that's what makes this seem hard, because what you're really doing is just telling someone what to do. In these problems, we just, to find the W, we just divide by the A and the H. And to find H, we take the A and divide it by W. Or to find the A, we multiply. So we're not really doing any math, we're just telling people what to do. And it goes back to the real important concepts of reversal. opposite of add is subtract. The opposite of multiply is divide, and so forth. And so this is going to help us with this solving process. This is extremely important. We're going to do a lot of these. So here we go. All right, so now our first three examples here, we're going to solve for the given variable. Okay, the first one says we're going to solve for b. So that means I need my problem to say b equal blank or blank equal b. That's what it means to solve for b. So I need to get b by itself. So my problem, b is attached to a g, and it's attached through multiplication. So to get b by itself, I'm going to divide. And that cancels out. That's a 1, and I get b. What I do on one side, I do to the other. And so a over g. So b is equal to a over g. This is what you're going to type in. Now, remember, it is case sensitive. So make sure that you type in a capital A and a lowercase g. All right. This next one, we have c equals k n y. Well, again, we need to know the math going on here. That, again, is multiplication. K times n times y. All three of those are being multiplied together. Now, I'm solving for n. So I need to reverse that multiplication. And to reverse multiplication, I'm going to divide. So if I divide by k and y, that's a 1, that's a 1. What I do to one side, I do to the other. And so I get n is equal to capital C over k times y. And again, it doesn't matter which side, that's what you're going to type in, and it is case sensitive. All right, number 3. Again, we have a fraction here. We need to know how to deal with it. It may not look like this in your problems. It may be written more like this. Okay, now remember, we had a trick for getting rid of fractions, and that was multiplying by the denominator. So this one, we're going to multiply by 2 first. We're going to multiply by 2 first on both sides to get rid of the fraction. So we'll multiply by 2, multiply by 2, and so now that's going to give me 2d equals GP. Okay, and so now I need to get solving for G. Remember, I'm solving for G, so I've got to get rid of the P. Solving for G, so I got to get rid of the P. So I'm going to divide both sides by P, and that's going to get me my G all by itself. G all by itself, and it's 2D divided by P. Again, I'm not doing any math. I'm not doing any math, and it can be turned around if you need it to. I'm just rearranging based on multiply and divide. Okay. All right, number 4. Ooh, that's strange. Didn't know that was going to stay there. Let's move you out of the way. Okay, so example 4, we're solving for H. We're solving for H. Now this one is definitely very scary looking. So let's look at it really closely. Okay, so V is equal to 1/9 pi r to the 4th h. Now we are looking to solve for h. So I'm going to highlight h this time because that's what we're solving for. So all this other stuff needs to be removed. So now, just like before, I want to get rid of the fraction, so I'm going to go ahead and do the 9 first. Multiply by 9, and that gets rid of the fraction. And I have 9v equals pi r to the fourth h. Again, you'll watch, I'm not going to do anything to that h because that's what I'm solving for. Okay? All right, now, if you notice or if you understand the mathematical symbolism, h is being multiplied by the r and the pi. And once again, to reverse multiplication, we divide. So I'm going to divide by the pi and the r to the fourth. And what I do on one side, I do to the other side. And that is going to get h, finally, all by itself. And that is my answer over there, that ugly thing that's got the 9 and the capital V and then a pi and an r to the fourth. That's the answer. And you think, well, what does that mean? That means 9 times the volume, and then you come in and divide by the pi times r to the fourth power. I know, it's kind of crazy. Okay, so here is example 5. Now this one has some addition in it. Now notice all of these other problems did not have any addition. Look very carefully to make sure you understand there was no addition in any of those problems. Okay, so if there's no addition, then there's also no subtraction. But this time we have addition, right? And for whatever reason, it doesn't say what we're going to solve for, but I don't know why I erased it. We're going to solve for y. Okay, so y is the variable that I'm going to have to solve for, and I don't know how to do that. Oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. So sometimes what we have to do is we have to create an easier problem. What if we had 36 plus 5y equal 10? Instead of that 3x, what if that was 36? How would you solve for y then? Well, I would guess every one of you would say subtract 36 on both sides. And I would say you are absolutely right, because that is what you would do. And that is still what you're going to do. It's just we actually can't subtract 3x. So what do? We write it down. We go through the motions. Subtract 3x on both sides. Now on this side we can subtract and it does go away. But on the other side I can't do that. I can't do 10 minus 3x, and that's why it's so important for you to put that x on there. Because if you didn't have that x on there, you might actually try to do 10 minus 3. And that's so wrong. It's 10 minus 3x. You can't do 10 minus 3x. They're not like terms. And again, remember, we're trying to solve for y. So there's y. So now how is that 5 attached? That 5 is attached through multiplication. So now I'm going to divide by 5. Do I divide both of these? Absolutely. And that was going to cancel out. So is that my answer? No, you actually can do a little bit of teeny tiny math here. I can actually do some math because we've got numbers. I can do 10 divided by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And though that's 2 minus 3/5 x. And that's my answer right there. So you did a little math and then you kind of did a little not math, all right? So the solving for the variable. All right, let's look at a couple more in the next video. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do some more examples. It's just math. You can do this.